you know. So that's just my take on it. This thing should not have happened because, number one, you're in Arizona. Taco Bell should be going out of business in Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Period. Same with Southern California. Northern California, up near Canada and Oregon. I know Oregon. I like to mispronounce it on purpose. You know, I could understand them kind of thriving up there because people that live up that far north might not know any better. But the people living down in San Diego, they know better. They know what real border food is supposed to taste like. So, yeah, why are these thugs beating somebody up over a waffle taco? They're not that good. They taste like crap, and they ain't good for you. And, how stupid can you be? By the way, go on over to BuzzPo, and they have the full story up over there. You can go and take a look at it, along with a video. I mean, this woman probably should have had a better choice in morning meal than Taco Bell anyway. If you get a look at her, she might want to go and talk to a medical professional about, I won't say her body image because that's a personal and private thing, but doing things a little bit more healthy. Get a couple of things checked out on her. I'm not a doctor. I can make some guesses, but I'm not a medical professional. I'm just saying maybe she should see one and see what can be done, have some tests run. Anyway, my heart goes out to the woman being beat up over a waffle taco, being beat up for a really stupid reason by a dumb thug who just couldn't control his or her temper over something as stupid as a crappy waffle taco. So, there's that. Other weird news. Well, good old Texas. Gotta love and bless the legislature here. They passed a law a few years ago making certain types of photography illegal. And it kind of makes sense. You don't want people walking around with hidden cameras on their shoes, taking pictures up your wife's dress, or having them mounted on a hat so when they're talking to your wife or girlfriend or daughter that they're taking pictures down their blouse. So Texas had passed a law making that type of photography illegal, at least without the consent of the person you're taking the picture of. Kind of makes sense. I can see their point. I can agree with it. However, there was a guy in San Antonio who is parked outside the SeaWorld who is taking pictures of kids in wet clothing coming out of SeaWorld. And of course, the wet clothing is a little bit clingy, and if they're wearing a white t-shirt, you know, it may become less opaque, etc., etc. I could see the disgusting purpose behind taking those pictures, that somebody may have thought that that's why this guy was taking those pictures. I don't know why he was taking them one way or the other, whether he's a sicko or he was just taking pictures for other purposes and wet kids who were playing, you know, with something a little bit less innocuous. Anyway, he was arrested for it and charged under this crime of taking these pictures, the same law that prohibits the upskirts and down blouses. And he appealed all the way up to the highest criminal court in Texas, and won his case. The law, or that portion of the law, because there's another portion as well, but the portion that prohibits the upskirts and down blouses in public areas from being taken, those type of pictures, was deemed unconstitutional based on the First Amendment. So sickos can go out there and walk through parks and go and lay down underneath kids' jumbo gyms and take all the pictures they want, because the law was considered too vague, unenforceable, and unconstitutional, in a violation of the First Amendment. So, of course, when the legislature convenes starting in January, that's one of the things that's going to be put on their list, is finding a better way to word and write that portion of that law. The other portion of the law is still upheld, though, and that's a portion that prohibits People from going into bathroom stalls or changing rooms at stores or sneaking into somebody else's house or what have you and taking pictures in areas that are deemed to be private areas to take those type of pictures. So that's still illegal. But the taking pictures of kids in a park or putting a camera underneath a staircase at a public venue and taking pictures up girls' skirts is now deemed perfectly constitutional and legal in Texas until further notice. Yeah. So, hey, I support the First Amendment. Obviously, I have a radio show, right? I support it. Hey, folks, I'd really love to hear from you on this issue, though. The number here is 520-226-8567. What do you think about the legality of taking pictures of people or portions of people's bodies, semi-clothed or scantily clothed or what have you, of their intimate areas or near their intimate areas in public areas against or without their consent? What do you think about that? Should be legal or illegal? Is that first protected by the First Amendment, or does that violate individual personal privacy? Go ahead and give a call or leave a comment down in the comments section. Let me know what you think about that topic. Again, the number here, 520-226-8567. If I'm not on the air, you can still call that number and leave a voicemail, by the way. I will get it. When we're not on the air, I still can get voice messages. And who knows? I may even be able to figure out how to play it on the air. Anyway, other interesting little things where people, it seems that their brains stopped working. Has anybody seen that movie? Well, obviously a lot of people saw it. I think it did pretty well at the box office. The movie Django Unchained or however you say that. I have not seen it. I heard enough bad about it, and there was enough things going on at the time that I kind of avoided that movie. I have nothing against violent movies, watching them, either by myself or myself and my spouse. The kid, of course, is too young, and we shield her from that stuff, especially when it has senseless and stupid violence, which I enjoy watching, but I understand that it's fake. But many of the actors and actresses that were in the movie were all coming out as being extremely anti-Second Amendment. Meanwhile, they're making this kind of a movie. It just didn't mesh well with me, and at the time, that kind of painted how I may or may not enjoy the film. And plus, I looked at the summary of it, the little blurb, and thought, I really am not interested. It doesn't look that good. Compare that with Act of Valor. Act of Valor is going to win out, or Lone Survivor. So anyway, actress from that movie, Miss Daniele Watts, got arrested. But she is claiming that she was arrested because of racism. Racism.
I was arrested because they're racist.
Because she is not white and her boyfriend is not black. So they're one of those mixed couples. Does anybody care if they're a mixed couple or not? I'm sure some idiots out there do, but come on, we're all the same race. We're all human. So who cares? You're attracted to who you're attracted to. I'm attracted to a certain type. And there's certain types that I don't find attractive. And just because a woman doesn't fall into the type that I'm attracted to, as far as, that kind of attraction, doesn't mean that I can't be friends with them. So it just means I'm not going to be inclined to be romantically involved. Besides, right now, even if I do find somebody attractive, if she's not my wife, chances of a romantic involvement are nil to negative. Anyway, back to Daniele Watts. She was arrested and screamed racism because she was kissing, this is her story, kissing her non-black boyfriend and she's a non-white person. And he says it was all done for racism because they were just kissing. However, the rest of the story, folks, bringing back Paul Harvey. Somebody witnessed the whole thing and took some of those pictures that the good old Texas courts just deemed to be allowed because the law that prohibited them was unconstitutional. Somebody from their private property snapped pictures out into public property, the street, where there was a car parked with the doors wide open, where a certain chef, Daniele Watts' boyfriend, and Daniele Watts were kissing and grinding and partially clothed with a shirt, Daniele Watts' shirt, lifted up, and her girls, so to speak, her upper body lady parts, her boobies, were well exposed, and her skirt was hiked up, and she was twerking and grinding, and what when I was growing up they called dry humping, right there in the driver's seat with the door wide open, door to the car, in full public view. You know, that's kind of like going to the middle of a kid's playground, at a school during recess, and grabbing the hottest looking teacher and having a romantic interlude right there in the jumble gym in front of the kids. It sounds sick, right, folks? I know if I saw people doing that, I'd probably get arrested for assault as I was pummeling them if they were doing that in front of my daughter, which is why I'd much prefer the police to handle it than me, because they'd do it a lot more professionally. I would probably call them first, because I wouldn't want to take pictures of that on the school playground and have that deemed as inappropriate photography. But anyway, somebody snapped a picture of Daniele Watts and her boyfriend working up to the nasty in the front seat of the car with the door wide open. So they were arrested for indecent exposure and public lewdness. Was it racist? No. Was it disgusting? Come on. You make as much money as you do, Miss Watts. You know, just like your sister, good old Shannon Watts, over there with her huge paychecks from Bloomberg. Yes, folks, I realize they're not related, other than having a similar last name. But anyway, you've got the money, Danielle. Go get a room. Go, you know, to a flop house, to a by the hour hotel. Go someplace private. Go to your own apartment. Go to a backyard. Drive, if you need to do it in the car, drive a car and put it into your personal private garage and close the door and turn the engine off, please. And go ahead if you really need to do it in the back seat of your car, or find a secluded area. Don't park in the middle of the street in a residential neighborhood and do that and then say, "You're being racist because I was just kissing my boyfriend." That wasn't just kissing. Yeah. That was just kissing on the same level that a Chelsea Lane feature film is just a romantic comedy with a little bit of tongue kissing, right? Yeah. For those of you who don't know who Chelsea Lane is, well, do your research. There's a nice little song by the Bloodhound Gang all about her that is not safe for radio. Speaking of not safe for radio, ooh, trying to see where we're going to go. I've got my program notes already written up, folks, but I don't like the order they're in, so I'm going to change that up because I want to talk about some of the things
You
going on.
don't have a right to know everything in a separation of powers government, my friend. That is the difference between a parliamentary government and a separation of powers government.
Well, as I was just so rudely interrupted by Miss thinks she's better than everybody else on the powers that need to be separated from the little people, Eleanor Holmes Norton, I was trying to say that I want to talk a little bit about what some of our elected officials in Washington are doing. There's a couple of things going on that you folks kind of need to pay a little bit of attention to. For one thing, the Tea Party Leadership Fund has started a national campaign looking to replace Speaker John Boehner. I know he pronounces it Boehner. I speak German, John. Your last name is pronounced Boehner. But to replace old Johnny there with, of all people, Trey Gowdy as Speaker of the House. Now, the Tea Party News Network over at tpnn.com has the story, National Campaign Launched in Support of Trey Gowdy for Speaker. Go ahead and take a look at that. But I'm interested in what you have to say about the possibility of a Speaker Gowdy instead of a Speaker Boehner. So let me know what you think about that. But it's interesting that this NPO affiliated with, loosely affiliated with the Tea Party, since the Tea Party itself is not really a national organization. It's just kind of a network of local organizations. But they're pushing it for a national campaign to replace Boehner. We've been talking about replacing Boehner pretty much since he picked up the gavel. I mean, come on. What Speaker Boehner is Nancy Pelosi in boxer shorts, minus the Botox. I mean, they both cry the same amount. Well, actually, I think Boehner may cry more. But, yeah, interesting going on there. And then, flip to the other side of the aisle. Not only do we have people who are malcontent with Boehner and trying to replace him with better, and I think Trey Gowdy would do better, but I kind of like him where he is now, doing what he is doing, because we need people like him. Him and Daryl Issa. Am I pronouncing his name right? But then you look over at the Democratic National Committee or Convention, or whatever the C stands for, National Collectivist Organization, the Democratic Party. Well, them and good old Obama, and that probably includes VJJ, Valerie Jarrett, their little love fest back and forth with Ditzy Debbie hand puppet Wasserman Schultz out of Florida, the antithesis of women's liberation. The ditz and a half herself, who every time she tries to cite facts or anything that comes out of mathematical computations, she completely screws it up and gets her butt handed to her because she's just that dumb. Well, the DNC, their love fest with her has kind of cooled towards Arctic temperatures, you know. In fact, it's gotten so cold that this just might be the cure for global warming. Yeah. But, you know, like we really believe in that global warming crap. Anyway, the Ditzy Debbie hand puppet and the DNC apparently are having a little bit of a falling out. They're having a lot of disagreements. Some of the things that Ditzy Debbie has said recently haven't gone over too well. And of all places, Politico is covering this article, and it's It's lengthy. I think